Today we're going to make a bed using concrete castle joints. There are 4 of these concrete castles. They weigh about 50 pounds each. They support beams and slats that I made out of walnut plywood. The pieces for this bed assemble in seconds without any mechanical fasteners, and yes, it really does work as a bed. Okay, so it's a bed, but why on earth would anyone want to make a bed this way? Well, this bed wasn't out of a direct need, it wasn't a commission, and I'm employing an incredibly literal design process that is the antithesis of everything that I learned in design school. A castle joint looks like a castle. The first castles that I ever made were out of Lego, and in previous design experiments, I've translated Lego constructs into concrete. This is exactly how I would have designed a bed as a 10-year-old, and there was no driving motivation behind this project other than sheer curiosity. Some people find puzzles, crosswords, or video games relaxing. Keeps your hands and your brain somewhat busy without the pressure and stress from real-world functionality. In addition to the enjoyment, I also learn from these projects. This isn't the first time I've made a Lego prototype that I have then poured silicone around, but this is the first time that I've filled the inside of those Lego prototypes with sand. The liquid silicone can seep through some of the cracks in the Lego, but the sand helps it clot up right on the other side. This keeps me from wasting silicone without having to seal up every crack in the Lego. I'm using Moldstar 30 from Smooth On to make the molds. I want the mold to be reusable, so I can make all 4 concrete castles out of it. And I placed in a few dividers in between the 4 crenels at the top of the castle. After letting the silicone cure, I cut away the hot glue and silicone that I used to seal the outer mold and pried the pieces off. The sand worked exactly how I hoped. The majority of it was unharmed and reusable, and little bits around the inside of the Lego had created sort of a clot for the silicone that limited its penetration. I have been using the same set of Lego to form concrete projects for the last 8 years, and I'll link to some of those projects in the description to show how I cleaned the Lego afterwards. I cut the mold into 2 pieces, and I'm going to reuse the same outer mold as a protective shell to hold the flexible silicone in place. Quikrete 5000 is a basic, readily available concrete mix that costs about $6 a bag. I scooped it into the silicone mold and then used my Ryobi hammer drill to vibrate it down. The more you vibrate it, the more consistent your concrete surfaces will be. The melamine scraps that I placed in between the castle crenels remove easily, and they create just a little bit of space that allows the flexibility of the silicone to work nicely. These concrete blocks could really scratch up a floor, so I took some typical felt furniture pads and glued them to the concrete using Quikrete anchoring epoxy. This is basically super strong concrete glue. I'm going to build up the wood beams by cutting 3/4 inch thick walnut veneer Europly from Columbia Forest Products. And then I'm going to glue these strips together layer by layer and use my jigsaw to cut out the upper layers so that they fit around the concrete blocks. I'm doing this all with basic handheld power tools with my crosscuts guided by my Kreg portable crosscut jig. The Kreg portable crosscut jig is one of my favorite low-cost accessories. It grips better than a speed square, doesn't take up a lot of space, and gives me a lot of added value out of my circular saw. I use the concrete blocks to align the glue up, and these Kreg long neck clamps are very handy for holding the pieces in place. I really enjoy projects like this because they don't involve figuring out measurements in advance. In this case, I just made these 4 concrete artifacts. Each one came out slightly different, and then I just have to build up these intricate beams by cutting and gluing layers of plywood one at a time. Kind of like Lego. I have full trust in Titebond Type 3 wood glue, but if you have structural insecurities, you could drive in screws to reinforce it. I sanded the pieces with my Orbital sander, and then protected them with 2 coats of Minwax polyacrylic. I've never stubbed my toe or banged my shin against a piece of furniture, but as someone who has posted content on the internet, I am now aware that that is a crippling fear for a whole bunch of people. I encourage these people never to accept an invitation to my new home, because this is going to be the bed for the guest room. Kicking a concrete block barefooted would definitely hurt, but no more than a quartz waterfall edge on a kitchen island, or a stone coffee table, or a rock outside. Lately on bed projects, I've been gluing pairs of slats together. This just makes it a little more convenient to break the bed down and store it if needed. I think this project is both dumb and awesome at the same time. I really like the way the castles look, and I think I might make the kitchen island for my new house using this technique. And an island with more vertical visual surface area would probably be a better place to really enjoy the visual novelty of this absurd way of making. Thanks for watching and for supporting my, well, silly design adventures. Oh, and there's a playlist in the description that has a whole bunch of other Lego and concrete experiments.